The U.S. Air Force has awarded a $1.3 million grant to Louisiana Tech's College of Engineering and Science and Institution of Micromanufacturing. The grant will be used to enhance military technology, advance the lifespan, and help in diagnosing issues in technology. The director of the institute says they will now be able to work on new technology materials for military devices.
To look at the root causes of those failures and come up with better materials and better strategies to help those critical electronics survive longer. Sensors or wearable computers, diagnostics, they'll be able to perform their jobs better in more demanding environments and over longer amounts of time. And a lot of that technology can then transfer to things like consumer goods, automobiles, things that would touch the everyday lives of Americans.
At 10, we'll hear about the possible economic impacts this grant will have on the technology industry in Louisiana.